Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. What you're about to hear is a story about silence, chosen silence, and how quickly people fill that silence with their own assumptions. Now, I'll step out of the way. I didn't tell my son-in-law what I make, not because I forgot, because I chose not to. Honestly, even saying that now makes me wince a little. It sounds petty or sneaky, or like one of those decisions you only justify after things go wrong. But at the time, it felt practical. The invitation came through my daughter, Emma. Daniel's parents wanted to have me over. That was the phrase, have me over, like I was a package being delivered. Finally, I remember standing in their entryway, keys still in my hand. Before anyone said hello, just a second too long. Long enough to feel it, long enough to notice the smell of lemon cleaner sharp, almost stinging, like it had been used right before I arrived. Their eyes moved fast. Jacket, shoes, purse, then back to my face. I knew that look. I'd seen it before, just never aimed at me. My name is Lily Anderson. I am 69 years old. I've lived a long time. Long enough to recognize when someone is already placing you somewhere in their mental filing cabinet. Somewhere low. Somewhere manageable. Daniel stood a few steps behind them. Quiet. That hurt more than the looks, but I pushed it down. I wasn't there to be comforted. I was there to see. They asked how the drive was. I said fine. They asked if I found the place easily. I said yes. No one asked anything that mattered. And I didn't correct a single assumption forming in that room. I could have. It would have taken one sentence, maybe two, but I stayed still. I stayed small. I wanted to know how far they'd go if they thought I had nothing to offer. Be honest. Have you ever stayed quiet just to see who someone really was? I stepped inside when Marianne waved me in, and as the door closed behind me, something settled in my chest. Not fear, not yet, more like resolve. I had a feeling this evening was going to tell me more than anyone planned to say out loud. I wore the old jacket on purpose. The one with the loose button I never fixed. Shoes I've had forever. Scuffed in a way that says I don't care. Even when I do. Part of me wanted to look harmless, invisible. Like I'd slip past people without setting anything off. Marianne glanced at my jacket and said, "You must like comfort." I said, "I do." She smiled and replied, "That's nice." Some people don't have a choice. Daniel cleared his throat. Didn't look at me. That was a shift. Small, but real. I'm not broke. I never was. My income shows up every month. Steady as a clock. It's not flashy. It's not exciting. It's real. Enough to breathe. Enough to sleep. Enough to never have to ask anyone for help. I don't say the number out loud because the number isn't the point. The point is that it doesn't wobble. I've learned not to wave that around. I've been burned before. Not in a dramatic way. No lawsuits. No screaming matches. Just people getting nicer when they smelled money, then colder when it stopped flowing their way. That kind of disappointment sticks. Quietly. We stood there talking about traffic. About the weather. About nothing. Marianne asked, "So what do you do these days?" I said. "I keep busy." Vanessa laughed. "Must be nice," she said. Some of us have real responsibilities. My car made that clicking sound outside as it cooled down. It always does. I focused on it for a second. Gave my hands something to do. I didn't want to be treated well because of numbers. I wanted the truth first. Even if it hurt. Even if it made me look small. Maybe that was dumb. You can tell me later. Marianne waved us toward the dining room, and as I followed, I felt it settle in. I'd already made my choice. Now I had to live with how they'd answer it. Marianne Brooks smiled the moment she saw me. Too fast. Like she'd practiced it. Her mouth moved before her eyes did, and that told me everything I needed to know. She hugged me, light and quick, like she was checking a box on a list. "So nice to finally meet you," she said, already pulling back. "Nice to meet you too," I replied. Her perfume was sharp. Expensive. It hit the back of my throat and stayed there. She stepped aside and looked me over again. Slower this time. "Where do you live?" "Lily." "In Northeast Portland," I said. "Oh," she replied. "Just that. Oh." We took 3 steps into the room before the next question landed. "And what did you do before retirement?" The word before sat there between us. "I worked," I said. Daniel shifted behind me. I didn't turn around, but I felt it. That quiet discomfort. That was new. That hurt more than her tone. Marianne nodded, like she'd confirmed something for herself. "Well, it's good to stay busy at your age," she added. Not cruel. Just dismissive enough to slide by unnoticed if you weren't listening closely. Vanessa appeared then. Wine glass already in hand. "So you're Emma's mom," she said. Not a question. "I am," I replied. She smiled. Smaller than Marianne's. That must be fulfilling. I answered honestly. Short. No explanations. Every time I started a sentence, someone finished it for me, or talked over me, or redirected it somewhere safer for them. Daniel stayed quiet. Too quiet. He looked at the floor, at the wall, anywhere but me. Power shifted there. I felt it. I was suddenly alone in the room, even with people standing close enough to touch. Marianne clapped her hands lightly. "Well," she said, "let's not stand around, dinner's almost ready." I followed them deeper into the house, aware of how easily I'd been placed. Not invited into the conversation, not asked anything real, just tolerated. You know that smile. The one that isn't for you. I kept walking anyway. We sat. Forks lined up like they were waiting for orders. Too many questions came fast. Not curiosity, inventory. Marianne leaned forward first. "So how long have you lived alone?" "Long enough," I said. Vanessa jumped in before the pause could breathe. "Must get lonely," she added, smiling like it was a joke. Someone laughed. Not me. Emma tried to smooth it. "Mom's always busy," she said quickly. "She hates sitting still." Marianne nodded. But she didn't look at Emma. She looked at me, busy with what she asked. I picked up my fork. It was warm from the dishwasher. I noticed that before I answered. "Life," I said. Daniel cleared his throat. Mom Marianne waved him off without looking. "I'm just making conversation." Vanessa tilted her head. "And finances," she said. "That can be stressful at your stage, my stage." I almost laughed. "I manage," I replied. Robert Brooks finally spoke from the end of the table. "That's good," he said. "We like things stable." That word landed heavy. Stable. Like I was a structure that might collapse. Emma reached for her water. "Can we eat?" she asked, forcing a smile. Bless her, she was trying. They kept going anyway, questions stacking. Where I shop, whether I travel, if I've thought about downsizing. Each one sounded polite. Each one pushed me into a smaller box. I answered honestly. Short. No stories, no details. Every time I gave them space, they filled it with their own conclusions. I realized then they weren't listening. They were deciding, filing me away, useful or not, safe or risky, someone to manage. And I let them. At what point would you have walked out? Dinner continued. Plates clinked. Conversation moved on without me. And I stayed seated, calm on the outside, already feeling the shape of what was coming next. I stood up and said I needed the bathroom. Normal excuse. No one stopped me. Marianne nodded like she'd already approved the route. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. I took a few steps and heard voices carry from the kitchen. Marianne's first, Vanessa's right after. Low, confident, like they thought walls worked for them. What happens if she needs help? Marianne said. Vanessa laughed. Short. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I stopped. I didn't lean in. I didn't creep. I just stood there because my feet wouldn't move. Emma shouldn't be responsible, Marianne added. Not at this stage of her life. At her stage, Vanessa said, with everything she and Daniel are building. I felt my stomach drop. Slow, heavy, like an elevator skipping a floor. She lives alone. Marianne continued. That's a risk. A liability, Vanessa corrected. The refrigerator hummed, low and steady. It filled the space between their words like it was trying to smooth them out. It didn't help. She seems simple, Vanessa said. That can turn into dependence fast, Marianne sighed. We just need to be practical. Practical. I'd heard that word before. It usually shows up right before someone takes something they think you won't fight for. What if she expects support? Vanessa asked. Money, time, a place to stay. Marianne didn't hesitate. Then boundaries have to be set early. I stood there holding the edge of the counter, staring at nothing. They weren't angry. They weren't cruel. They were organized. Calm, talking about me like I was a form that needed filing. No one asked what I wanted. No one wondered if I already had plans, or resources, or pride. I realized then this wasn't about manners, or awkward dinners, or clumsy questions. This was about control, about keeping things clean and contained. I backed away before they saw me. My hands shook when I finally reached the bathroom sink. I turned on the water just to have noise on my side basuki. I swear I didn't mean to listen, but once you hear it. When I came back to the table, Daniel wouldn't meet my eyes. He was staring at his plate like it might give him instructions. I watched his face instead. That's where the truth was. Tight mouth, jaw set. He knew something. Maybe not everything, but enough. I sat down. No one asked if I was okay. A few minutes passed. Forks moved. Glasses clinked. Normal sounds. I waited. Then I gave Daniel an opening. Just one. Daniel. I said quietly, your mother seems worried about me. He flinched. Just a little. His knee bounced under the table. Fast. Like it was trying to run without him. He shrugged. They mean well, he said. That sentence landed wrong. Too easy. Too rehearsed. Mean well, how I asked. He didn't look at me. They just like things. Clear. Planned. Planned for who I said. He hesitated. Emma looked between us. Marianne picked up her glass. Vanessa checked her phone. No one interrupted. They didn't have to. They worry. Daniel said finally, about future complications. I nodded. Complications like me. His knee bounced faster. That's not what I said. You didn't say anything. I replied. Silence sat there. Heavy. Familiar. I could tell he'd been here before. This wasn't new to him. This was a position he knew how to hold. Neutral. Careful. Safe. I saw it then. He wasn't choosing sides. He was choosing comfort. Choosing not to upset the room. And somehow, that meant letting me be the problem. I felt older in that moment than I ever had. Not because of my age, but because I realized how easy it was for people to let you stand alone when it cost them nothing. Daniel finally looked up. Can we not do this right now, he said. I smiled. Small, tired. Of course, I said. When would be better? He didn't answer. When? If you were me, would that have been enough? Marianne waited until dessert plates were cleared. Timing matters to people like her. She folded her hands and leaned in like she was about to share a secret. We've been talking, she said softly, about support. Support. The word came wrapped in velvet. The meaning underneath wasn't, "I just think it's wise to plan." She continued, "Just in case." Vanessa nodded. "Life changes fast," she added, "especially at this stage." This stage again. Daniel stared straight ahead. Emma's shoulders tightened. No one looked at me. "Plan for what I asked." Marianne smiled. Same fast smile. "Oh, you know. Help if you need it. Decisions made early so no one's overwhelmed later." Overwhelmed. That word always shows up when someone wants control without admitting it. "I manage my life." I said, "Of course you do." Marianne replied quickly, "We just don't want surprises. Surprises like me." Vanessa picked up the thread. It would be easier if expectations were clear. Financially. Practically. Financially. There it was. Finally said out loud. My coffee tasted burnt. Bitter. I swallowed it anyway. "You're talking like I'm a problem waiting to happen," I said. Silence cracked the table open. Daniel shifted. "No one's saying that." "No," I replied. "You're just planning for it." Marianne's voice stayed calm. "Lily, please don't take this personally." That was the moment something in me went quiet. Not angry. Focused. Like a switch flipped and the noise shut off. I saw it clearly now. They weren't worried about me. They were worried about risk. About control. About making sure nothing unexpected touched their clean little system. I'd been letting them talk over me. Around me. About me. Playing small because I thought observation was enough. It wasn't. I set my cup down. "I think we should stop this conversation," I said. My voice didn't shake. Marianne blinked. "I'm only trying to help." "I know." I said. "That's the problem. That's the moment. You know it when it hits." I corrected one thing first. Calm. "I don't need support." I said. "I never have." Marianne opened her mouth, then closed it. Vanessa tilted her head like she was recalculating. Then I corrected another. "I don't make decisions out of fear." I added, "I make them out of habit." And planning. Daniel finally looked at me. Emma did too. Her eyes were asking something she didn't say out loud. Marianne tried to smile. "Of course, we just like clarity." "Then let me be clear," I said. My voice didn't rise. That surprised even me. "I make $37,000 a month," I said. "It comes in the same way every month. Has for years." Silence hit the table hard. Someone dropped a spoon. I didn't look to see who. I kept going before anyone could interrupt. I live the way I do because I want to, not because I have to. I don't borrow. I don't depend. I don't wait for anyone to take care of me. Marianne's face changed first. It was subtle. Her shoulders eased. Her eyes sharpened. Respect showed up late. Uninvited, Vanessa blinked. "Oh," she said. "Just like before." Same word. Different meaning. Daniel stared at me like he was seeing a stranger. Emma's mouth fell open. Then she smiled. Small, proud. Angry too. Robert cleared his throat. "Well," he said slowly, "that changes things." "That's interesting," I replied. "Because nothing about me changed." No one laughed. No one disagreed. Marianne leaned forward again, softer now. "We had no idea." "I know." I said. She reached for her glass. "We just wanted to be sure everything was secure." "It is," I said. It always was. The air felt different. Lighter. Warmer. Like permission had been granted. That was the part that stuck in my chest. Respect didn't arrive because they understood me better. It arrived because they liked the number. I pushed my chair back slightly. Not to leave. Just enough to remind myself I could. Funny how fast the air changes, huh? Marianne moved first. She always does. She leaned toward me like we were old friends now. Well, she said, smiling slower this time. I have to say, Lily, that's impressive. Really impressive, impressive. There it was. Vanessa followed right behind her. What kind of work did you say it was again, she asked. Different tone. Careful. Interested. I didn't. I replied. Daniel looked stunned. Like the floor had shifted and no one warned him. Emma looked angry. Not at me. That mattered. Robert nodded. Suddenly thoughtful. You must be very disciplined. He said, that kind of consistency doesn't happen by accident. No, I said, it doesn't. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Once. Then again. I didn't check it. I didn't need to. I knew it was someone wanting something now. That's how it works. Marianne laughed softly. You've clearly done well for yourself, she said. We admire that. Interesting word. Vanessa smiled wider. We should talk more. She added, I'd love to hear your perspective. Perspective? That was new too. I nodded. Polite. Neutral. Inside. I felt tired. Not relieved. Not proud. Just worn down by how easy it had been to flip the room with one number. Daniel finally spoke. Why didn't you ever say anything he asked me? I met his eyes. You didn't ask, I said. Silence again. Different this time. Emma pushed her chair back slightly. Not enough to leave. Just enough to show she was done playing along. I caught her eye. She nodded once. I saw it clearly then. This wasn't acceptance. It was adjustment. They didn't like me better. They liked the idea of me better. Conditional kindness. The kind that shows up late and expects gratitude. I finished my drink and set the glass down. I think it's time I head out. I said. Marianne looked surprised. Already? Yes, I said. I've had a long day. No one argued. As I stood, the room felt smaller. Or maybe I'd just stopped shrinking. Would you accept it? Or would it feel fake to you too? Emma walked me to the door. Not Daniel. Not Marianne. Just Emma. That mattered. She closed it behind us and crossed her arms. Why didn't you tell them, she asked. Her voice wasn't angry. It was tired. I wanted to know who they were before they knew what I had. I said, I needed that. She shook her head. They crossed a line. I know. I said, that's why I stayed quiet. If I'd spoken sooner, I'd always wonder if I imagined it. Emma leaned against the wall. So what now? I took a breath. I'm not telling you what to do. I said, you're grown. This is your marriage. She nodded slowly. But I am telling you what I won't do. I added, I won't be discussed like a problem. I won't be planned around. And I won't accept kindness that only shows up after a number does. Her eyes filled. I'm sorry. I know. I said, and I meant it. Outside, the night air felt damp on my face. Cool. Honest. I stood there a moment, keys in my hand, listening to the quiet. No shouting. No slammed doors. Just a line drawn. Finally, Daniel opened the door a crack. Drive safe. He said, I always do. I replied, in the car, I sat longer than I needed to. Here's the thing I'll say, and I'll say it plain. Silence can be a tool, but it has a cost. Sometimes you learn something you can't unlearn, and once you see it, you owe yourself a boundary. If this were your family, what would you do now? I don't know what happens next. I know what I won't accept. And for tonight, that's enough. If this story sounded familiar, if you've lived some version of it, say so. I read every comment. Sometimes knowing you're not alone changes more than money ever could.